What does it truly take to become a legend? How far would an actor go to bring a character to life? What's the price of cinematic immortality? He doesn't just play a character on screen, he becomes them. He's the man who pushed the boundaries of dedication and transformed method acting into an art form. His name is Robert De Niro. Today, we're taking a journey into the legendary career of one of Hollywood's greatest actors. We'll count down his top 10 most iconic films and reveal the insane lengths he went to behind the scenes. Get ready, because this is Robert De Niro's top 10 films and the extreme challenges he faced. Onca numbers. Heat, 1995. Coming in at number 10 is the cinematic face-off we all waited for, Heat. In this modern crime classic, Robert De Niro takes on the role of professional thief Neil McCauley, opposite the one and only Al Pacino. The film is a masterclass in tension and has some of the most iconic action sequences ever put to screen. But to make those intense bank heists look so real, De Niro had to go to some serious lengths. Along with co-star Val Kilmer, he went through rigorous live-fire training with a former British SAS soldier. Their goal? To get every movement, from how they held their weapons to how they reloaded, down to a science. De Niro, being a perfectionist, threw himself into it, making sure his on-screen work was as authentic as it gets. 9 numbers. Awakenings, 1990. At number 9, we have a film that truly showcases De Niro's dramatic depth, Awakenings. Based on a true story, De Niro plays Leonard Lowe, a patient who has been catatonic for decades until an experimental drug administered by Dr. Sayer, played by Robin Williams, brings him back to life. De Niro's emotional performance is simply unforgettable. To prepare for this role, De Niro spent time in hospitals alongside his co-star, observing real-life catatonic patients. He meticulously studied their subtle movements, expressions, and postures to create an authentic portrayal of someone who has been unresponsive for so long. He worked so hard to embody the character that the process of awakening and regaining movement was emotionally and physically exhausting for him, blurring the line between actor and patient. 8 numbers. The Untouchables, 1987. Sliding into our number 8 spot is the epic crime drama The Untouchables, directed by Brian De Palma. This film features De Niro's chilling portrayal of the legendary mobster Al Capone. While he only appears in a few scenes, his presence is so powerful it practically steals the show. Playing a larger-than-life figure like Capone was a massive challenge. To look the part, De Niro did more than just wear a fancy suit. He gained a significant amount of weight and got a full haircut to match Capone's look. He also delved deep into historical records, listening to actual voice recordings and poring over photos and videos to nail Capone's mannerisms, voice, and distinctive walk. He was so committed to the role that he even insisted on wearing silk underwear just like the real Capone to help him get into character. That's next-level method acting. 7 numbers. Casino 1995. Coming up next at number 7 is another masterpiece from the iconic De Niro-Scorsese duo, Casino. De Niro stars as Sam Ace Rothstein, a shrewd and calculating mob associate running a glitzy Las Vegas casino. The film is a stylish, sprawling epic that exposes the dark side of Sin City. To step into the shoes of a real-life mob-connected casino boss, De Niro conducted extensive research, meeting with former casino executives and gangsters. But one of the most remarkable parts of his preparation was his focus on wardrobe. De Niro reportedly wore over 70 custom-made suits throughout the film, each one meticulously chosen to reflect his character's changing status and mood. This incredible attention to detail required him to be constantly on his game, making sure every look, every movement was pitch perfect, which was both mentally and physically demanding. 6 numbers. The Deer Hunter, 1978. At number 6, we have the emotionally draining and haunting film The Deer Hunter. Directed by Michael Cimino, this movie tells the story of a group of friends and how their lives are shattered by the Vietnam War. De Niro's performance is a gut punch that perfectly captures the psychological toll of combat. For this film, De Niro and his castmates had to push their limits to convey the raw, psychological trauma of war. During the infamous Russian roulette scenes, the actor's stress was genuine. De Niro and his co-star John Cazale were so committed to making the scenes feel real that they often improvised, which led to an incredibly intense atmosphere on set. De Niro himself has spoken about how emotionally draining the entire shoot was, as he had to live and breathe the trauma of his character for an extended period. 5 numbers. The Godfather, Part 2, 1974. And finally, at number 5, we have the film that won Robert De Niro his first Academy Award. The Godfather Part 2! In Francis Ford Coppola's masterpiece, De Niro plays the young Vito Corleone, filling the immense shoes of Marlon Brando. His portrayal of the young mobster is nothing short of legendary. For this role, De Niro took method acting to a new level. He traveled to Sicily to immerse himself in the culture and master the local dialect. His lines in the film are almost entirely in Italian, and he learned the language so well he could speak it fluently. He also spent months studying Brando's iconic performance in the first film, meticulously imitating his vocal rhythm, mannerisms, and posture. It was a daunting challenge to play, a younger version of one of cinema's most famous characters, and De Niro's total commitment is what makes his performance so spectacular. That's a wrap on the first half of our list. Stay tuned for the top 4 films where De Niro took things to a whole new level. Which one do you think will be number 1? 4 numbers. Goodfellas, 1990. Coming in hot at number 4, we have arguably one of the greatest gangster movies ever made, Goodfellas. In this Martin Scorsese masterpiece, De Niro plays the ruthless and ice-cold gangster, Jimmy the Gent Conway. The film is a masterclass in crime drama, and De Niro's legendary performance is a huge reason why. To embody Jimmy Conway, De Niro focused on the minutiae, acting and thinking like a real-life mobster. He studied every single detail, from how the character smoked a cigarette to his specific walk, and even his hairstyle. But his biggest challenge was mastering the authentic argot and speech, patterns of real-life gangsters from that era. De Niro reportedly listened to hours of audio tapes to nail the pronunciation, emphasis, and tone, making his performance so realistic that the crew on set sometimes felt like they were dealing with a real gangster. 3 numbers. Taxi Driver, 1976. At number 3, we have one of the most iconic and unsettling films in cinema history, Taxi Driver. Robert De Niro's portrayal of the traumatized Vietnam veteran, Travis Bickle, is a psychological deep dive that leaves audiences speechless. This role is the ultimate proof of how far De Niro is willing to go for his craft. To bring Travis Bickle to life, De Niro actually worked night shifts as a real taxi driver in New York for several weeks. This wasn't just a stunt. It was his way of experiencing the loneliness and moral decay of the city firsthand. His biggest challenge, however, wasn't just physical, it was getting inside the mind of this deeply disturbed character. He spent hours talking to Vietnam veterans to understand their stories and psychological state. And the famous "You talking to me" line? That was completely improvised by De Niro on the spot, adding to the unsettling authenticity of his performance. De Niro himself has said the role was so mentally taxing that it took him a long time to shake off the character after filming Wrapped. 2 numbers. Raging Bull, 1980. And now for our number 2 spot. This is a big one. We're talking about Raging Bull, the film that won Robert De Niro his second Academy Award and is widely considered the peak of his career. De Niro underwent an unbelievable physical and mental transformation to play the turbulent life of boxer Jake LaMotta. De Niro's dedication to this role is legendary. He trained as a professional boxer, building up muscle and a boxer's physique for the fight scenes. But the true test came for the second half of the film, where he had to play an older, heavier LaMotta. De Niro famously traveled to Italy and gorged on food to gain an astonishing 60 pounds in a short period. This rapid weight gain was so dangerous that it worried director Martin Scorsese, who briefly halted production. This extreme sacrifice to his own body solidified his status as one of the most dedicated actors of all time. On number, Cape Fear, 1991. And at number 1, the undisputed king of De Niro's darkest roles, Max Cady. Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear features De Niro in one of his most terrifying and unforgettable performances. As a vengeful ex-con, he absolutely petrifies audiences. So what made this character so unbelievably convincing? De Niro's legendary commitment to the role. To prepare, he consulted with psychologists and former inmates to understand the twisted psyche of his character. But he took it a step further, making a physical sacrifice for the part. To get Max Cady's sinister smile, De Niro paid a dentist $5,000 to grind down his teeth, giving them a jagged, evil appearance. After filming, he had to spend $20,000 to fix them. This is the most shocking example of how far De Niro will go for a role. He doesn't just act, he lives the part. That's why Robert De Niro is considered one of the greatest actors in the history of cinema. And there you have it, a journey into the incredible career of one of cinema's greatest legends, Robert De Niro, and the unbelievable sacrifices he made for his craft. He didn't just play a character, he lived it. He drove a taxi to get inside the mind of a troubled veteran, risked his own health for a physical transformation, and even sacrificed his teeth to bring a villain to life. De Niro showed us that becoming a great actor is about more than just talent. It's about dedication, passion, and the courage to dive into the very soul of a character. It's that kind of unwavering commitment that has made him a true cinematic icon. Now we want to hear from you. After seeing all the incredible lengths he went to, which of these films is your favorite? Which De Niro performance had the biggest impact on you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more high-quality content just like this. See you next time.